So I'm not familiar with Ironman. Can you explain to me what an Ironman is?
So the Ironman, the full Ironman, you need to swim 3.8 kilometers. Then you bike for 180 kilometers. And you run a full marathon, 42 kilometers at the end. So the half Ironman is the half of distance. So what I did was 1.9 kilometers swimming, 90 on bike, and then a half marathon, 21 kilometers.
How long did that take? All right, hello. Today we have Betania Victor.
Yes, Betania Victor.
An Instagram connection and an engineer/business manager tech.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Share a little bit of the journey.
Fantastic. So let's start with the engineering part. So you're an engineer.
Yes, I am. My background, I am an engineer. Actually, I'm an electronic technician. I started to study on the high school in Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil, São Paulo. And in the high school, we used to have a program that you do like your high school, like the traditional high school, with a technician degree, let's say this way. So I did electronics. So I started to work very early, like 17 years old. We were like, I was already in the manufacturing company, being like a trainee, but for the technician job. And then I moved to the engineering. It was like just a natural path to go into engineering school. And then I did the engineer like 6-7 years in Brazil. And that's it. Then I work with telecommunications in Brazil for a long time. So since my first technician job until I moved to Canada, actually, I was in the telecommunication industry. I work in big corporations like Ericsson, Huawei. And I moved to Canada in 2013. And when I arrived here, it was a different path, like not a different path, how I could say. I came as a permanent resident, and I came with my engineer degree. But when you immigrate, you think that, okay, like, I'm coming with my visa, I have the same rights, I have a good resume. But then you discover that, okay, it's another monster you need to figure out because you need to integrate. I thought that my English was very good. And then you arrive here, like the local people start to talk to you. It was like, oh my gosh, this is real English. And so I got my first job. It was a help desk. And I had to work from 3 a.m. to 12 at first during like maybe, I don't remember how long, if it was 6 months, 8 months. And after I worked during the day. But this was even like, I don't know if in English we have the same expression, when it hurts your ego. Because I thought that it was so bad. And then I was like, oh my gosh. I had to start really from scratch. Then I got a job on the satellite industry with the ground segment. And then I ended up on satellite, building a satellite. When I moved to Vancouver, I came for a space company. And now I work on maritime. But I had like different paths as well. I was a technician. And then I did like technical support, I did proposal, I work in quality, project management. And now I'm on sales. Now I'm a business development manager for the maritime industry.
What a path, I must say. But so let's step back for a second. And you did telecommunication in Brazil.
Yes.
So can you speak about how was that, and what are the difference between these major companies like Huawei and like other big names that you maybe interacted with?
most of my career work in big companies. Here in Canada, I had two experience. I had one startup company and one company that's like, it's kind of like they're global, but it is not like a big corporations. But now I work in a multinational as well. I find when I work on the startup, it's the main difference. I can talk about the startup better than the another company because I think the other company has the same structure than a corporation, maybe with less people. But the startup is more like you need to figure out what you are doing. As you go, like you were a project manager, but another day you were doing procurement, and then you discover that maybe quality has no process, you have no quality. You needed to dive on there. I stayed in the startup for how long? Was 1 year, 3 months or something? Because the startup didn't move forward for like financial and all this investment reasons. But I feel that I didn't have enough time to get the feeling what it is working for a startup. I find like I should be working for 2-3 years at least to see the, not the real difference, but to see things, to conclude things. To see things coming and say, okay, working for a startup, you need to do like this to achieve that. But honestly, I don't think I had that experience to tell something like this. And work for corporations I like. I enjoy working for corporations. I find it's more about your leader than anything else. If you get a good leader, you're going to have opportunities. And if you're happy what you do, you find a purpose on what you do. Like, for example, work with tech, give me a purpose. I know I'm helping people, right? Everybody wants to go on the telephone, you know? So you know that in a certain way you contribute for that. Now, maritime, it's amazing because so many things arrive on the vessels. You have a rescue by vessels, and you want to go to the island, you need to get the ferry. So I see my part, my contribution to make these things work.
I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the amount of support you guys are giving this podcast. None of this would be possible without you guys. And if you guys like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and it's completely free for you guys. If you want to support this podcast directly, please check out the Patreon link down below. It will help me directly, and it will help me bring higher levels of guests and improve the studio and really deliver the best content. And also over there, we have some unreleased content, podcast. I've interviewed 2 people at the same time, and there's more content there with people from Toronto that I cannot be in person with. I do over the Zoom, and all the content's there. So please make sure to check it out. And thank you guys for watching. You mentioned having a good boss really makes or breaks, right?
Yes.
What qualities do you look for in a great boss, and how could you define that?
I find in the leadership, the mindset, the understanding of personalities, like someone that understanding the strengths and the weakness of people, because people are different. Like you can have the teams of, I don't know, I'm gonna say any teams. Everyone there is gonna have different strengths, weakness, and the way that these people are motivated. People are motivated in a different way. Like if you have, you can have someone that's motivated if they have days off. Another one is motivated if they have more social at work. Another one is if they have more money in the pocket. Like you can, and some people want to grow more than others. So if you have a good leader, for me, someone that understands their team. So for someone that's ambitious, someone that understands you're ambitious, give you support and help you to find a way to, how I could say, is like kind of like, it's not cave, it's like drawing your path.
Pave the path, yeah.
Yes, pave your path to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, those are powerful. I definitely agree with that. They need to have big social skills to understand the room and their employees, but also very ambitious to go after what they want as with all their power and really drive the team forward as well.
Yeah, and understand that these motivations, I find that's very important. Some people, they are more ambitious. They want to grow. And you don't cut the wings. You identify these people that want to grow and say, this is valuable for my team, for the company. So maybe not in my team in the future, in 1 year, but in the company, these people, and don't be intimidated by those people.
So you've worked in the satellite industry as well, which
Yes.
is very interesting. I don't know anyone who's worked in the industry. Can you just speak on how everything works and just like the details about it?
Oh, it's so, because satellite, it's a big it's a big business. No, they have different satellites, different types of satellite. I was working in a company that was developing a SAR satellite, a synthetic aperture radar satellites, and works by the frequencies, and it's a imagery satellite working by high radio frequency. And as I mentioned before, I worked 1 year and 3 months. We didn't finish the process. We didn't finish the satellite. The idea was amazing. It was a very great project, honestly. And but I didn't finish. But I can say that working with satellite industry it's very pleasant. It's a process of discovery, and gives you the feeling of exploration. You know, like when when the people start to explore, like from Europe or another parts, and go on the vessels, the boats to explore the world on the sea. You have this feeling when we're working in the industry and start to have friends who works in other companies. It's a very exciting industry to work. Has so much to develop. Has so much to, how I say, that is so much to be explored. Let's say this way.
Yeah, so much potential.
Yeah, so much potential.
So you mentioned that it was a great project.
Yes.
How do you define a great project in your mind?
For example, this one specific was a satellite in 2 frequencies. Like it was going to be L-band and X-band. So the L-band, they don't give you too much of nitidez. I'm speaking Portuguese because I'm trying to find the English word. It's like they give you a long swap, like a swath. You can like see like a wide, but you don't have the same. Oh my gosh, it's not visibility when you can see like very close by.
Accuracy?
Accuracy. It's not the accuracy. It's like how much you can see close for something.
Close by.
Close by. It's like, for example, X-band. You cannot swap. It's like it's shorter. It's not so wide. But you can see more closer to the object, let's say this way.
Wait, so are you talking about like mirrors on these satellites or like...
No. This is RF, actually. It's by wavelengths.
Yes, radio you mentioned. But what are these like... Actually, it's interesting that...
It's kind of accuracy, the word would be, because first I don't remember the numbers, but the L-band, you could see inside, you could identify that something there, that you could come with the X-band and see closer to identify what it is. And then you can use the AI and machine learning to identify which type of object in the sea. For example, if it's ice detection, for example, would be one of the... But today they have for one frequency, like you have L-band satellites, you have X-band satellites, a constellation, more than one, of course. But you don't have this both frequency. So it was innovation, was something that if move forward was going to be great.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We can get into details and it'll be very technical, but yeah. So the satellite industry, it seems that your journey has taken you into different paths that you may have not like studied in the past. Like, how do you land these jobs in various domains that you may not have like previous experience in, really?
Good question.
Yeah.
For the space satellite, what counts for me, it's a lot about my experience, not like in the field itself, because I don't work the technical. So like project management is different to work as an engineer developing something, right? You need to understand the project. You need to understand the process. So my background, like in Brazil, for example, I passed by different like departments. I work in different areas inside the corporation, inside a company. So I understand how a company works. So when I come to Canada, I land in a job, my first job, for example, because I knew how the company works. I had to learn a lot. Don't take me wrong. I went for a position that I never had done. I was managing a department that I never had done. But I find also like I'm motivated by challenge. I like the feeling that I don't know how to do something and I need to figure out. This makes me work in my potential. So this is something one thing that's important, don't wait to be ready. I start something even knowing that I'm not ready for something.
That's a good message.
So, for example, if I want to work in certain area, I research how it works, yes, but you're never ready if you don't know how it is, right? But I don't wait, I need to have like 10 years of experience. I don't follow the books, you need to have 10 years of experience on project management to be a director of program. I don't believe on that. I believe on how much you are willing to put effort and learn.
Can you speak as a whole about project management and which departments in corporations are maybe the most important, least important? How do they interact with each other to create the organizations we see?
I find like for project management, one of the most important department is the engineering department. If you work with tech, because my experience is always working the technology, right? So for the technology, the engineering department, manufacturing, they are very important. But then you have like sales, that the people who sells the project, do the proposals, that's going to win the business and bring the money for the company. You need to interact with everyone. So the sales department is very important in the proposal department because they are going to bring the projects. But then you need to get the support of all departments to give the right inputs to get this business. But then once you get this project, you need to kick off. And you have like engineers working. If you need some development, sometimes you don't need development. You already have the product. And you need the manufacturing department work. And you have a quality that needs to be there too. And procurement that's going to buy the parts. It's hard to say actually what's the most important. It's a teamwork. It's a team effort where everybody needs to be aligned and needs to have that driven, like, okay, we have this project, now we need to deliver.
Any interesting stories you have from maybe interacting with some of these departments or anything like that?
What do you mean by interesting story?
I don't know, maybe something went wrong or something went really great. It's one or the other. That could make it like skew from the Gaussian distribution. That could make it interesting. Rare.
Wow. I have so many stories. I find like for me personally, in my career, in general, one of the most interesting stories is when I went to work on Mexico. So I was hired by one company, and in 3 months, I was learning what I was doing because it was a department that I never worked before, proposal department. And they had a big tender in Mexico. And they said, Betania, you are going to Mexico to support this tender because we need someone with this expertise. I went to Mexico. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? And I spent months there, like quite a couple of months in Mexico. I had to go to Costa Rica. And the project was for Costa Rica, the entire country. I never been in Costa Rica. My Spanish was very so-so in that time. And we had to work. We were 7 people in the office. And we had to work to deliver this proposal. I had to talk with local companies, get prices, and I spent a month in San Jose. But was one of the best experiences that I had for work. After I came back to Mexico, we had to finish the proposals and everything. We did. It was great. We won. But for me personally, it was a big challenge. That was a breakthrough that changed your career, changed the way that you see yourself. Because when I went there, I had no clue how I was gonna do. Honestly, I had no clue. I had support. I had a very good support of my manager in Brazil in that time, from my teammates, people that work with me in the same team. They helped me a lot. But you'll be there in different time zone with different people in different country, new in the company. When you are new is when you wanna show that okay, I can work. I know how to do. And in that time, I did that. I had no clue.
It seems that you've seen many countries in the world. Which one stands out to you? Which one's your favorite so far?
Canada.
Really?
And I mean, when I say Canada, I've seen, I haven't seen so many countries, I find. I live a little bit in Mexico, Costa Rica, Argentina for work, Chile. And Chile is great. So Chile is really, I had a very cool experience there. Working, I made friends, and I had social and work in the same time. So it was really cool. And Europe, most of the time that I went to Europe was for tourism. So I didn't have any experience to say, oh, I live 3 months in Europe. I spent 1 month in Spain once. But when I came to Canada, I came in Canada in 2008. I remember I came to study English. I was going to stay 30 days because it was my vacation period that I had. I couldn't stay more, and it was expensive. Like dollar and Brazilian reais is super expensive. I came and I studied. No, when I was coming, my boss in that time in Brazil, he told Betania, how you are going to invest in yourself to learn English? You can stay 45 days. Instead of stay 30, I stay 45. So I had this 15 days. We negotiate, and I could stay 45. I was super happy. I was going to study. I came to study. I ended up studying 45 days. I didn't do any tourism, going to Toronto, Montreal. I just stay in Vancouver. And when I come back, it was a surprise for me because I got kind of a promotion. I changed department. I went to the department that I want to work. It was like a reward for my effort that come here to study English. But when I came to Canada, is when I had the experience to live in a first world country and see this part of being safe. This is a big portion for me, feel safe. And since then, I had a voice in my head telling me that I want to live abroad. At first was not Canada because I thought I was never going to get a visa for Canada. For some reason, I thought that was an impossible task. And on 2010 or 11, I applied and I got the visa after 2-3 years. I came in 2013. And for me, I lived my dream because my dream was living in Canada. This is why I tell this. Of course, today, I'm living in Canada for 12 years. I know the good parts. I know the bad parts. And right now we are in a situation that needs to get better, let's say this way, urgently.
I agreed.
But yeah, it's that. It's like I feel that I live my dream.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. What's your craziest story? So you do fitness and stuff as well. We haven't touched on
Yes.
that. Yes. So can you get into that? How did you get into fitness and endurance? And kind of how did you kind of started your career there?
Okay. I don't work with fitness, no. Like I'm not like I'm a personal trainer. I have the certification, but I don't work on my daily basis with fitness. I have my Instagram. I like to motivate people and influence people on healthier habits and do exercise, challenge themselves. But I'm talking how it starts. Okay. On 2015, I was tired to start and stop the gym, basically. I would just go to the gym and stop. Spend like 3 and 4 months or pay 6-month membership, never go. And before my life was different. Like even things that I like to do, I would be like drink beers all day or, like being more this type of lifestyle. And on 2015, 15. I always confuse 15 to 16 or 2016. Okay, whatever. I started to go to certain gym, Report Fitness in Montreal. And they were like 30 minutes workouts, high intensity exercise. And I think I went like February, March, April, like 3 months. And I felt that I was gonna stop again in my head, like inside me. I was like, I'm gonna stop again. And in order to avoid that, because words are very important to me, if I say to someone, I'm gonna do that, it's because I'm gonna do that, was an impulsive thing. Like I post on my Instagram that I had my friends and family, and I said, I'm gonna start to post about fitness and gym, and I'm gonna do that for 365 days. Because I couldn't commit with 60. Betania, like, okay, if I'm gonna commit for a year. I didn't have any objective. I just wanna see what's gonna happen if I would go to the gym for 365 days. So I start to, like, if you go like older in my feed, you see day 1, day 2, day 3, I put until 365. I have my 365 days there. And honestly, Instagram helped me so much. Because in order to create content, I start to try different things on fitness. So I would do 30 minutes HIIT exercise, and at the end, I would try yoga poses, and I would stay 1 hour sometimes, like just trying that, like a challenge, a small challenge. Every day I have a challenge. And in this process, I discovered calisthenics. And I don't know why I love calisthenics. Like it's something that really got into me. That's body weight, doing pull-ups. And then you have like these combos that you do on the bar or challenges in the internet. In that time, it was really hard to find challenge. I had like 4 or 5 people that I used to follow, and I still follow them because they inspire me so much, that I would see there doing the challenge, and I would do the challenge. I would try, and I found them like super strong, and I was like, oh, I want to go be like a kid. And I was doing challenge. Sometimes I was, and also because I have been working with technology, corporations, you follow certain protocol in your brain in the way that you navigate on things. And I find that fitness brought me another creative side that I didn't know that I even had. So for me, for example, today, I love to go to the gym when I'm alone, and I start to create combos of exercise. And I found that super fun. I love when I enter in this creative mode. So I did that for 365 days. At the end, I became super strong. My body changed automatically, not automatically, but like consequence. It's a consequence of doing the exercise, having to go to the gym every morning. You want to get better. You start to eat more clean. So I started to eat more clean. I didn't follow any diet, specifically diet or anything. I just started to exchange what I was eating, choosing better. My body changed. I became more confident as well. Like a lot of things changed on my mind, the way that I perceive myself. But I also become very strong. So I was doing muscle ups on calisthenics.
Damn.
And then I started with calisthenics. So from 2017 to 2020, I was just doing calisthenics. Okay. I was just doing calisthenics is the wrong way of saying. I was doing calisthenics like 70% of my training, because the other 30%, I like to go to a CrossFit class, boot camps, or I don't know, Pilates class. I like to try different things. I like to diversify my workout, because I find more you move your body in a different way, stronger you become. And on 2020, what's happened that I used to smoke. I was a smoker for 24 years. And when I started with the fitness, I was smoking still. I used to smoke almost a pack of Marlboro every day. I was a heavy smoker. On 2018, 19, I changed for vape. I made a joke that I found that vape was the best thing of the world, like because you didn't have the smell. And for me, I used to feel very ashamed, because I was like, how I'm on the fitness and I'm a smoker and I'm posting about health lifestyle. And I felt like fake. Honestly, I felt that I didn't deserve what I was having. I was having sponsorship. I was having like so much work with brands but inside me, because in one point I was smoking, hiding for people, was very very ashamed. But it's hard when you have an addiction to just quit. And people don't understand. People come and say, oh, you should stop smoking. I know. Everyone, every smoker probably knows. But it's really hard. You have the habit, you have your hand like this all the time. Even to switch from a regular cigarette to a vape, it's hard. And today is different. I can recognize, like, it's easy for me to talk, because I was like, okay, even smoking, I did all of that. Today I see different, but in that time it was really hard. So in 2020, I hurt my shoulder. I had a pain. Nobody could tell me from where. Like, everyone would tell me, oh, it's calcification, it's this, it's mobility, it's that. I was really overtraining. I was doing like a lot of this calisthenics, going bouldering, spend hours because I was addicted. And I had this pain. I couldn't do overhead positions. So I used to call myself Betania Monkey. And the monkey life was over in that, at least in that period. And I had to find something that gave me pleasure, or something that gave me a challenge. And one friend of mine told me, why you don't run the trails? You like so much to do hiking. Why you don't run? And then I started to research, I discovered, and this person told me as well about the ultra marathon. And I started to bug in my head, like something in my head was like, oh, imagine yourself doing an ultra marathon. I think the name ultra, like it was like something so far for me. And I was like, how am I gonna do that? Smoking. So it's interesting, because then one day I decided that I was gonna do an ultra marathon. I got all my vapes, I threw in the garbage, and I started the process of running. Took me a month to really be comfortable on 5K. I remember going my first times to 5K. I couldn't do 5K. I had to stop. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, until I started to run. I have on my Map My Run, the app that I used in that time. I have my run that say first time, like a 5K, no stop. And I did this project with the help of a friend. I did for 6 months training for ultramarathon. COVID came, canceled the races. I accomplished the distance in the city, in the island of Montreal. I did 53 kilometers. Was the hardest thing that I ever done. On fitness, I think this was something very hard. Like, I don't know even how to explain. I had 50 kilometers with different emotions. I had like everything like in that 50 kilometers. Yeah, I think from kilometer 30 to 40, my friend on the bike, my friend ran with me. I couldn't talk with them because if they opened the mouth, it was annoying me. I couldn't hear voice. I was so stressed. And then from the 40 to 50, I was so happy. I was like, only 10, now I can finish. And you get like a roller coaster. It was really interesting process. But then after I accomplished this, I was kind of even like, I don't want to run. I don't want to run again in my life. So next year I bought a bike. I started to bike with friends and do my workouts. It was just like fun stuff. When I moved to Vancouver on 2022, I decided to run 1 half marathon, which led me to the second half marathon. And the second one, I went to Kelowna. I ran in Kelowna. And I was like, oh, this is so cool because it was my first time in Kelowna and I could run. And I saw so many things. It was in the middle of the vineyards, like, and I was like, oh, this is nice. You see so much. So I went to Seattle for the first time and I ran half marathon there. When I finished Seattle, I was 41 years old and I was going to be 42. And I was like, 42 years old, 42 kilometers. I was like, okay, I'm going to run 1 marathon. And then I decided to run my first marathon last year. Yes, last year. So I ran Paris. I went to Paris. I ran my first marathon. And the first one was just like 42 years old, 42 kilometers. But then I decided to do a second marathon because I like long distance. I enjoy long distance. So I did a second marathon last year in Long Beach. It was my first time in Long Beach as well. And at the same time, in parallel, because I always heard about the Ironman, and triathlons. And I was like, oh, if I knew how to swim, I would do a triathlon. I don't do a triathlon because I don't know how to swim. So last year, I decided to learn how to swim as well, which was a quite long process to get a little bit of confidence, at least tell myself that I knew how to swim. And took me from January to August. Like I did level 1 with one school, and then I did a private class, and I was going to the pool 3-4 times a week to train. And I did a sprint triathlon as well last year. And the sprint was a test for my swimming. Was the challenge on the sprint triathlon was doing my swimming. Do my swimming, the second beach on the open water because I was so afraid of deep water. And everybody that asked, oh, why you want to learn how to swim? I was like, oh, every time that I go on a boat, I'm the only one that don't jump in the water. Because I was so afraid. Don't ask me, like it's something that I just had inside me. And finally, I could kind of get over. I still have, like, if I need to jump, I'm like, oh my gosh. But I jump. Now I jump. And I did the sprint triathlon last year. And then this year, I did my first half Ironman on May in Victoria. It was a great experience as well. I love it. Did now 1 marathon. And the next year, I'm gonna do another marathon. I did Sacramento. Now I'm gonna go to Japan for the first time. I got in one of the majors, the Tokyo Marathon, and I wanna do my first full Ironman the end of the year.
Wow. I must
Long
say,
story short.
yeah, I must say, it's very inspiring, your journey.
Thank you.
So I'm not familiar with Ironman. Can you explain to me what an Ironman is?
So the Ironman, the full Ironman, you need to swim 3.8 kilometers. Then you bike for 180 kilometers. And you run a full marathon, 42 kilometers at the end. So the half Ironman is the half of distance. So what I did was 1.9 kilometers swimming, 90 on bike, and then a half marathon, 21 kilometers.
How long did that take?
Depends of, I can talk in average, maybe 15 hours, 16 hours for a beginner, maybe even more for me. I don't know. Because the first time that you don't do for time, right? Of course you wanna, for me, the Ironman, the half Ironman, that's called 7.3. I was so worried about a cutoff time on swimming because I'm a slow swimmer. I just learned. So the first time that you do things, it's like the same with my marathon. I did the first marathon. I just want to finish. And my goal was not walking. Like inside of me, I was like, I can run very slow, get the water slowly, like jogging. But I don't want to walk. I want to do a marathon without walking. So I did. I was not worried about the time. Kind of like inside of my head, I'm like, I read somewhere that doing a marathon in under 5 hours was a good time for a beginner. And I was like, I want to do under 5 hours. But if I didn't do, I would be okay because I want to finish.
That's crazy. I mean, accomplishing that and like at later parts of like I'm 23 and I'm like, imagine like swimming for 3.8 kilometers and I don't know, it's insane. 15 hours of that. And I think most of it comes with just you blocking yourself, telling your mind, and that's how you have to rewire it and be like, you can do this, and just it's all in the mind, I feel like, right? Can you speak on that?
It's on the mind, but also it's like in our preparation. And more you do, more you trust in the process. I know that sounds cliche because everybody says, trust the process. And you don't trust, it's like, okay, it's easy talk. But for me, what it have been showing me is like more I follow a training plan. I go there, show up, execute. There is no way that you cannot do. Could have something like that's out of your control. I don't know, like maybe twist your foot, like then you cannot finish something. Or, I don't know, like your stomach's not well that day. I don't know, those things that's not under your control. But things that are, if you do what is under your control, you need to follow. Then you have those things there's a lot of polemic sometimes, and I read, I don't comment, but I see. Oh, it's like on calisthenics. You need to do 10 pull-ups to do one muscle up. I don't believe on those things. Like, I know a lot of people that can do maybe more than 10 pull-ups and cannot do a muscle up. Muscle up has a technique. You need to do pull-ups like high here on your chest. Then you can like turn. You need to know how to turn, like how to impulse your body. Even though sometimes, like for me, it's easier to do like not the movements with the impulse, like the straight muscle up. And but you have a technique. You need to develop the false grip. You have like a lot of things that's not only the pull-ups part, because you need to be strong, but it depends how you do your pull-up. 10 pull-ups doesn't mean anything, right? Some people do like half pull-ups. And the mind counts on that, because sometimes I see like, to do like one half Ironman. You need to do first one sprint, then one Olympic. You need to be good on the Olympic. Now we feel comfortable with the Olympic. Then you go to the Ironman distance, the half Ironman. And I don't. Depends how you want to perform as well. You want to be super fast. You want to finish. What is important to you as a challenge? Mm-hmm. And for me, doing something that I think I was never going to be able to do it motivate me. And if I have to do things just like to be fast, like, I need to do a lot of like Olympic triathlons to be super fast. My goal is not being fast right now. It's finishing. And for me, motivates me more going for a bigger project than this project that I know I can finish.
I definitely understand now. It's more clear. You need to set your own goals and then pursue those in a structural way.
Yeah, the training part, how you prepare yourself is and how you show up, how much you give when you show up. And sometimes, like, I do a little bit more than my training. Like, for example, for strength training, if my program say we're going to do twice a week, I probably going to be 3 times a week. Probably my training is not 40 minutes. Mine is 1 hour and a half. I try to put mobility. I do a strength training. I do my pull-ups still, I don't do the calisthenics anymore. Like, it's not my focus. But I still try to be strong enough to do some pull-ups, to do some stuff on the bar. But how you show up makes the difference.
How does your preparation look now that you're looking ahead towards maybe the end of the year doing a full Ironman?
So now I'm in, like, I just did a marathon 2 weeks ago. And you need to recover from the marathon. I'm doing more like strength training. I did my first run. I need to come back slowly, like small bike rides and some swimming. January, I start the training, the foundation. And for the Ironman, start like going for some swings more regularly, like maybe 2 or 3 times. I don't know. My coaches I have a coach for that. Because it's a big goal and I feel more comfortable with someone guiding me, someone with experience. And in parallel, I need to train for the marathon in March. But the marathon, because my goal was Sacramento, like a race goal, and Japan happened in an impulsive way as well, because when Japan, you need to put your name on a drawing. It's like a lottery, the Tokyo Marathon. And I always want to go to Japan. And in Brazil, it's so expensive that I didn't even think about going to Japan. And just a fun fact here, in São Paulo, in Brazil, we have the biggest Japanese community outside Japan. So we are influenced by the culture. So I was like, okay, here's closer. Maybe I could go to Japan. And I put my name in the lottery. I was like, if I'm the lucky one, I'm selected, it's a sign that I need to go to Japan. So when I got the results, I was like, oh my gosh, now I need to go to Japan. For me, it was more like a vacation. And I was going to run for fun. So I need to keep with the volume to finish. But I didn't meet my goal on Sacramento. Now I want to meet my goal. I meet my goal of timing on race. I want to race under 4 hours. And I will try in Japan.
It's a good life. You're doing what you like and you're traveling the world. And
this is amazing, actually. This part of traveling, I like this new lifestyle of traveling for a race, because you do the race. I went to Paris before. It was not my first time in Paris, but I have been in Paris on 2012. So I came back last year, 11 years after. 11? Yeah. And I saw more of Paris on my run, my 42 kilometers, than on my tourism. And for example, Japan, I want to stay 2 weeks. So I'm going to do some tourism in Tokyo, see the things, go to restaurants and stuff, like things that interest me there. But then I run 42 kilometers. I'm going to see things that I was not going to see. Even by car. By car is worse. And also I think it helps on the long distance when you see new things. Because you're all the time, like, it always helps on the...
You're like, I wonder what's next coming.
You don't know the next, like, curve. You don't know, like, you don't know where you are.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
So it seems that in your fitness journey, you've done like many runs and stuff like that, but you've also done calisthenics and weights and stuff. How do you see your fitness shaping up, and what do you enjoy more in the future? Would you want to just do the races now and push harder and do bigger distances and that, or you want to have a goal in fitness? How do you see
I have no idea. Honestly, for now, I want to do one more marathon. I want to do the full Ironman. I want to see how I feel about the full Ironman. I told myself I was going to do one marathon. I'm going to my 4th. I was going to do 1 half marathon and I did 4 as well. At first I was going to do a half Ironman and I said, oh, if I don't do the full now, what's the point? So I don't really know. Like, I enjoy fitness and I enjoy the triathlon. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend, because the thing about the full Ironman, this is why I'm going to do in the end of the year, November or December, is the load of training. You need to spend a lot of hours. I want to learn how much is this amount of hours, for how long, to see if I enjoy or not. But I cannot tell if I'm going to enjoy or not without passing this process. So next year is the main race is going to be a 1 marathon, 1 full Ironman. Maybe I'll put in the middle some triathlons on summer here, or maybe a half Ironman as a training race. But after that, I have no clue. One thing I know is, like, I love strength training. So strength training is something that I always going to be doing. And I like the base of calisthenics. I enjoy doing, like, the calisthenics training. So sometimes I play around. It's hard now to follow a calisthenics plan. Like, oh, I want to achieve this, I'm going to do all the time. Because you get, this year with the half Ironman, the last 2 months until the race was crazy. It was like I was spending like 4 hours on the bike on Saturdays. Then 1 hour running. It was 5 hours, and then I have like strength training sometimes in the same day. But you have, like, you change clothes, you get the bike, you do this. I would start in the morning and I finish in the afternoon. And then Sunday I had to run 2 hours. So no time. You have 0 time. And it was like, but it was enjoyable because it was like just 2 months doing that. It's okay. So I don't know how it's going to be for the full Ironman. I'm looking forward to the process. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy what you're doing, but I don't know after if I will be willing to give that time or not. Just after, maybe next time I came in here, I can answer this question to you.
100%. Yeah, that's crazy. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Hopefully you hit the 4-hour mark in the marathon as well.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a big one for me.
How do you feel about pickleball and its rise to popularity?
I don't feel, actually, because it's like I never play pickleball. So when I say I don't feel, like any sport, anything related with movement that's getting people together, people to play and people to move, I find that's really cool, actually. Like now they have like the high rocks, a lot of people going to high rocks races. I find amazing when you have like something that to bring people together and make people like doing movements and enjoy themselves with others. It's always great.
I definitely agree with you. Yeah, it's fantastic. And that's the love of like fitness and sports, is people come together, do physical activity, and it's like a community. You build a community.
Yeah, exactly. It's like communities, like now with the running clubs, so many running clubs that bring people together, run, go for a coffee. It's amazing. So when you ask me about the pickleball, I find amazing too. I don't have feelings about the pickleball itself because I never played.
What's the biggest thing you do for fun outside of like, you know, all the fun like fitness stuff that you do?
Fitness is a big part because I do see fitness a lot of times as a fun thing that I do. For example, today I supposed to go to a social run. For me, it's a fun thing. You go for social run, then you go for a coffee, you talk with people, you do your social. But I also like to travel. I like photography. I enjoy going for activities like hiking on summer. And one thing that I love, for example, summer for me, that's really fun is going to the beach. Going to the beach, read my book there, or going with friends, spend the afternoon in the beach, see sunset. For me, it's like small things like this, making my life super fun.
What's your... Go ahead.
And I read a lot of books. I like to read.
Yeah, I was going to linger on that. I was going to say, what's your favorite book that you've read?
I have tons of favorites book. I don't have like this book is my favorite one. Like the biography, like Mark Twain book about Twain. I don't know how to pronounce. It's the Joanna d'Arc one. Got me really amazed by her story. David Goggins books, both of them. Yeah, I'm a big David Goggins fan.
Yeah, how did I not think of David Goggins? He's insane, truly.
Yeah, and has more books. Yesterday I was talking with my friend about one book. I don't know the English name, but it was like a Che Guevara, like a diary of his bicycle trip in the South America, and it was like a big, like a book that got me. Brave New World. That is like quite a few that I can.
So in these, like for example, in the Ironman, you have to swim that long. Like you can't eat. But how do they make sure like you like eat food, or how does that work in these races?
So for the 3.8 kilometers, I didn't research yet. I'm starting a new coach on January. I don't know if you get a gel or something and take it during the 3.8 kilometers because it's longer than like just the 1.9 kilometers. But we start very early. For me, I take like my experience, I can tell about the half Ironman. So I take, when you train your food as well. So during my training period, I was eating exactly what I was going to eat on the day. So in the morning, I had two choices that I used to have, or oatmeal, or to have like banana with oats, honey, and cinnamon. So on the day, I eat the same before going, but to go like 4:30, 5 a.m. is super early. And then I did my swimming. When I come back, I took a coconut water and a gel. So you have like and then the bike, it was the same. I have like dates, gel, like a bar. And on the running, I have gels because when I'm running, I cannot eat. For me, it's easier with gels. I haven't had stomach issues until now because a lot of people sometimes depends what to eat. You need to be careful. This is why you need to train as we're gonna race for the nutrition as well, because you need to know how your body's gonna answer for that type of gel or type of food. Depends how you're gonna do. So for the full Ironman, I don't know yet. I have a new nutritionist that she just did 2 full Ironman, and she's gonna help me on the food part, because the food portion, I eat very well. I eat very healthy. For these big efforts, I'm afraid that I'm not fooling my body on a daily basis for recovery, for performance, for feeling good with myself. That's why it's another reason I find having a nutritionist is going to help a lot.
You truly are building a team around this, and I think it's the best way to go about it.
Yes, you train a lot by yourself, but it just can make it if you have a really good like support team, I find. Mainly like now I always had a coach. For the Ironman, I had a coach. He's incredible. He was really good one. I didn't have a nutritionist. I was doing by myself. But now for the full Ironman, I find that's another monster. And I was like, no, I'm going to get a nutritionist. I want to make sure I'm fueling myself properly, not only the race day, but during my training process. Got like a very experienced coach as well. And she's also a woman. And I find like in this part of age, I'm 43, you have like hormones and all these issues. And someone that has been done and passed through those things can understand, I think, a little bit more. I feel more comfortable. And I'm excited with the team around, honestly. Yeah, I think it's going to be really an amazing experience.
It seems that you have this mindset that you always want to challenge yourself and push yourself to do greater things, push beyond what you may have been before or believed you could be. So where did you get this mindset really?
I find once you do, for me, I did like it. I find like it is on my personality in a certain way, like it is pushing the limits. But when I became more aware of this trait that I have, that I understood myself more, because before I used to do things for that, smaller things that challenge myself, but I was not really aware of who I was, why I was doing that. What I see is like there is a feeling of overcoming or fear that gives you certain level of confidence. And every time that I do something that I think I was not able to do, I know more about me, about my potential, that you say, you go like a little bit more. Okay, can I do a little bit more? And this feeling of being amazed with myself, to know like that I have so many limited beliefs, how much I need to heal, you know, like for past or traumas and stuff like this. I do therapy. And how things in your life affected you that you never reached that potential. I like this feeling that I'm reaching my potential. And I know that I have so much work to do, like so much progress. Like I'm not even like close, but I do enjoy this feeling of having more confidence on for myself.
What's your first piece of advice for people trying to grow their Instagram channel? Because you have a good following, successful.
Yes. Okay, the Instagram for me happened at first without the intention, because the reason I did the online challenge, the 365 days, was to be accountable and to make sure that I was going. It's like having a supervisor because I told I was going to do, I had to do. And then it starts to grow with the challenge. Some videos went viral in that time. Once I was on the page of 9gag, you know, like that website of memes, like doing pull-ups. It was interesting, it was funny. And but one thing that I learned about Instagram, and is the way that I use right now, you need to do what you like to do, what's true to yourself. And this thing about doing for others only, you do for an audience, right? You want to motivate your audience. You want to get like, or people laughing. I like jokes, so sometimes I want to make people laugh. And I know that it's not everybody that has the same sense of humor. Sense of humor is like something that's very peculiar for each one. I do what I find funny. And if someone related to that, it's okay. If not, it's okay too. You need to be very confident, very like, okay, I'm doing that first to myself, what is true to myself, And then you achieve others. And then we're going to achieve the public that relates with you. But you need to enjoy what you're doing, because sometimes if you go just for the public, like I'm talking about personal, it's different for business sometimes. Like I understand when you have a company and you need to sell a product, in a certain way you need to be true to yourself, because you have values and missions, and you have a message that you want to pass to your public. So you need to follow that path. You need to be true to yourself as well. But when you are personal, it's a different way, because you can start to compare yourself with others, which I passed for a phase where I was comparing. And it's not healthy, of course. Like to be healthy on this world, you need to make sure that for me, it's like I need to make sure that I'm doing and I'm true to myself. And I know who I am. And if you like, you like. If you don't, it's... Sorry, I am like this. Yeah.
Right. That's how it should be. What's your intuition about competing and the science behind preparation?
Oh, I'm completely on the science part. I completely believe on science part. Like this is why I hire coaches and people that knows about the science behind the preparation. When you say science, you mean the training plan?
Training plan and like the human body, like you have to do certain, I know you said that like 10 pull-ups doesn't mean a muscle up, for example, but like for example you need to be able to do this to do that, kind of like
I don't like to put things in a box. I see sometimes when people try to find this box, these labels for things. Like, for example, I don't eat meat. I don't eat red meat and pork. But I don't call myself vegetarian. I don't call myself vegan. I don't have name. I don't like red meat. I don't eat because I don't like pork. I eat fish. And now I'm like more or less with chicken. I don't know why the taste doesn't get on me anymore. But I still don't call myself, I don't put in a box, because maybe tomorrow I try red meat again after, I don't know, I think it's been more than 20 years I don't eat red meat, because I never like it. Maybe they change the taste buds, like they change every, I don't know how many years. Maybe today I like. So I don't like to put in a box. And with the fitness stuff, is the same. I mentioned before about like some people believe that you need to do one of this, one of that, and accomplish. Me, I follow more like what I think I could accomplish with a certain period of time. Try to be reasonable. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm gonna do an Ironman tomorrow. On my case, I travel for work. I travel quite a lot. That's why I put in the end of the year as well. Because like, oh, I'm going to travel. It's going to disrupt my training. Even though I travel and train is not the same, I put a longer period for that. If I didn't have to travel, I was going to put like July, August next year. But I believe in the science, but I believe in the mind too. I find like mind and science depends how strong you are in your mind. And the science doesn't account that.
Yeah, science more general, talking about like the generic population. But if you have a stronger mind than average and it's way above average, then it would have to get some strength and some positive side for your case, maybe.
Yeah, and for me, I'm not like, for example, on the endurance part, like for strength training, calisthenics, I think I can talk more like with confidence, because I did for such a long period of time. I taught myself a lot. I used to train alone with friends as well, but I didn't have like a specific coach for that. So I had to discover, I have to test, I have to push my limits. I hurt myself. I had a lot of lessons in this process, and I took like my certification for personal trainer to learn more. But for triathlon, I just started. So I go for what I believe for myself. Now, when you talk about giving advice, it should general for everybody. I would say find a coach that you relate for. Talk with more than one coach sometimes. This is very important. Sometimes it's better to talk with more than one coach because I can tell that depends of the experience of the coach. Sometimes the outcome is gonna be different. I had someone telling me that doing the Ironman next year was gonna be. It's a very ambitious project that I should do in 2026. But I had another two that told me like, no, it's super reasonable. You just need to train, you need to follow the plan. So depends how. Yeah. Talk with more than one. Depends on how is your goal. But I think this is the best advice that I can tell. Like talk with your coach because I'm new on that.
What challenges you?
Challenge me. But overcome my fears. I find overcoming my fears, doing things that I think I was not gonna be able to do. It's something that drives me a lot, even on professional side. On professional side, if you come with a project that I find, oh my gosh, like then my smile is here. I put a lot of energy. I like to do hard things. Let's say.
That's awesome. I feel like the more hardship you go through, your personality is more, you know, you're not just one dimensional. You have different aspects of dimensions in your personality, and you have more to talk about, more experiences you've done. So I think it's a plus for it. The more experiences you have, it's a plus for everything.
Yeah, and I just can talk about myself. It's each person has a different story, different mindset, different goals. And I don't try to be like anybody else. I try to be a better Betania every day, overcome my fears, Betania's fears. And my fears maybe it's not the same than yours. Probably. Less shark, maybe.
I don't like sharks.
Yeah, fire. But what I'm saying is like, the way that I see is like, I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to challenge myself on my own fears and grow from that. And I like to share because you can inspire someone that may be related with something of that and say, oh, it's possible. But it's hard when make me question. For me, it's very like I cannot answer when talk about general or others because I'm like, I don't know.
What motivates you?
I think the questions are like connected. What
Same.
Challenges me, what's motivate me
To overcome and the fears.
Yeah, they come together, and you can have different motivations for different things, right? So like fitness and work, I like the challenges a lot. But maybe to clean my house, music motivates me.
That was a good one. And lastly, what do you think is the meaning of life?
Oh, this meaning of life, it's a hard question because for me, life is like you live your life with a purpose. You live your life the way that you fully enjoy. I'm trying to build more and more my life with things that I really like to do. That's not to fit in any place because I have a story where I was trying to fit in everywhere, with every group, every people. Like I would find a group, I would call myself a chameleon, that I would adapt. I was proud of that. That's a skill. But I was not completely aware what I was doing to my true self. So today I'm on this search of being true to myself and develop a lifestyle where I do things that I fully enjoy, that I'm grateful. And more I do that, more I align my life with myself, with my true self. I find that I become more of a kind person. I can contribute more with the community, with the people. I can share more here in the podcast, for example, for people, and grow. Like I find like they all go together. You grow, you develop the life that you enjoy what you do. You become kinder. You are not like resentful. You treat the others with love. For me, the meaning of life is like doing things that you enjoy and treat people with respect and love.
Betania, it's fantastic speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. And much success here.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.